Take advantage of our water heater flush special for only $26. Visit us at 365plummingnv.com. 365 Plumbing, because where the water flows, 365 Plumbing goes.
Plumbers, HVAC techs, contractors, and DIYers. McFadden-Dale Industrial Hardware has the tools, parts, and supplies to power your next project. Open early and stocked with everything you need. Stop by South Decatur near Russell. McFadden-Dale Industrial Hardware. Fast, easy, and built for the pros.
Hey, Jeff, how's the new job working out?
Really sucks. Terrible boss, and the paycheck is even worse. I gotta get a new job.
Truck you.
Wait, what?
Truck you.
You don't have to curse at me.
Dude, you should check out Truck You CDL training. My brother got his CDL license in 4 weeks, and now he has a new career making great money.
Okay, I'm listening.
Truck You offers small classes with night and weekend times available. They will even help with payment programs. Check them out. Truck, the letter U, LV.com. Truck You.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
All right, busy times around the sports world, busy times around Vegas sports world with Stanley Cup Final starting up tomorrow with VGK involved. You know, for the longest time, one of our hometown franchises was UFC and boxing. Not that boxing was under one umbrella, but UFC. And if you've been covering it for a long time, it's pretty incredible how far it's come. If I told people back when Donald Trump and one of his properties, the Taj Mahal, when they were hosting UFC 30, right? No one would host these events. And Trump's like, hey, you know what? UFC, Dana White, we can make money. Let's do it. If I told you that Trump, 25 years later, would be going full steam ahead in his second term as the president of the United States, and that this renegade blood sport would set up an octagon on the lawn at the White House and have a fight card, you'd be like, commit this guy. Where's the straitjacket for Cofield? RJ Clifford knows this sport well. He fought. He's covered it forever. I mean, all the other stuff aside, the fact that UFC is here at this moment, 2 weeks away, is insane.
It's still like, I know Trump first became president in 2016, so it's been a decade, right? And since obviously Dana White, Donald Trump, that had the relationship forever. I still have to pinch myself when I realize a cage fighting promoter has the bat phone to the most important office on planet Earth. There are heads of state that don't have access to Donald Trump. There are Fortune 500 CEOs that don't have access to Donald Trump. And a cage fighting promoter, a former boxer-sized coach that ran away from Boston to escape the mob to come to Las Vegas, can just text Donald Trump and kind of get what the president can casually bring up to him at his event. Hey, let's just do the most complicated, highly logistical, biggest sporting event you could probably put together outside of like a Super Bowl. Let's just do that on the White House lawn. Yeah. And it's just like done.
Are you going?
I leave next Tuesday. I'll be there.
Wow. What is it, without giving away the state secrets, because I know enough people who work here for UFC in Vegas. What's it going to be like just in terms of, there's a complication level to putting an event on like this already, and then you're at the White House.
Yeah, so the actual events are on the south lawn of the White House that we know, and that's going to be roughly 3,000 people. They're bringing in some military to be able to watch, to kind of bring in some energy, because you don't want just a bunch of politicians sitting there in their suits being 80 years old. That doesn't make for a great environment for fighting. So they're bringing some raucous soldiers in there. And then on the ellipse, which is just across the street and past the south lawn, there's going to be a giant field with the stage. It's where the desk is going to be. And they're going to be able to have about 85,000 people on this kind of outdoor setup with giant screens. And it's free to go to. You do have to get a ticket, but it is free. I don't know what the status is, if you can still get one or not as of right this second. But it'll be kind of like the intimate venue on the south lawn for just like literally the elites, literally and figuratively. And then, the animals can go onto the ellipse with us, watch the fights.
Weird question for you. A little deep, little dark, maybe.
Let's do it.
When you think about where this is at and the fact that it's out and open, and I know that you mentioned like the security, and it's going to be secure, but it is sort of on the, when you prepare for something like this, because it's not like you're going for a visit. It's not like they won the championship, so you're going inside to cover something. Was there any hesitation, like, man, what if this is the event where somebody takes a crack, it takes a shot.
Well, I not to be too dark. Well, you went dark. Let's see if I can go darker. I mean, he's kind of due for another attempt, right? It seems like every few months.
I didn't want to use that phrase because if anybody's listening, they're gonna be like, "All right, let's go back to June 1st. Willie Ramirez on Cofield and Company and ESPN Las Vegas. Get him!"
I don't mean to laugh, but look, the UFC. I don't know if I'm brave or dumb, but I've never felt unsafe in any venue that the UFC's put on. I mean, the UFC's going to Azerbaijan at the end of the month. They've been to the Middle East multiple times. They just announced the main and co-main for Abu Dhabi coming up in a few months in July. So the UFC's no stranger to going to wherever they think a fight should be held, and so far nothing's ever really been terrible. That's really gone on. And also, I think this is so huge for a sports fan, and obviously for Cofield, who's been covering it forever. It's mind blowing there. But the president's all over the place, all over the time, and he's doing all kinds of events on a regular basis. It seems like, well, it's an obvious spot for there to be problems. But he's put himself on stages in open areas on a regular basis. So I don't know if this one's extra different. I mean, there's going to be more security here than a rally in Pennsylvania or something like that. So again, I don't know if I'm brave or dumb, but I'm not worried.
For you, the biggest fight on the card, I know you love Topuria. That fight against Gaethje is awesome. I am sort of marveling at the fact that a guy who can fight at 185 at one point looks like the bigger heavyweight. Pereira and Gane is 6'5", 245, and Pereira looks every bit as big as him, and it's this dynamic striking matchup. But it's just to me that's an incredible thing when a guy can fight at 185 and then still look big at 245 pounds. I think we lost RJ's mic. If he got muted somewhere in there, he's speaking, but we're not hearing him. He's still speaking, and we're not hearing him. No dice. Maybe your mic got muted. Live radio. James said it's not me.
You got me now.
There you are.
Am I here?
Yeah, buddy.
There we are. Okay. Yeah, it's wild how the guy keeps jumping weight classes and he keeps being the bigger guy in each weight class that he goes to. Yeah, like you said, to be champion at 185 and now getting up to, he'll be probably 250 by the time fight.
It's so nuts. And not fat. Not 6'4", 250 with junk in the trunk, and he'll look gigantic. It's nuts.
Yeah, it's wild. And it just shows you just how hard he was weight cutting leading up to this and just what he could be. And as he's starting to get older and he wants to be that, a champion in a third weight class, this is a big opportunity for him. But Cyril Gane is a problem. I mean, he is probably the slickest heavyweight striker in the roster. He can jab from both stances. He can go to the body really well. He knows how to manage distance really well. As far as just pure technique for technique, I think Cyril Gane's the better striker than Alex Pereira. But obviously Pereira's got just fight and life-shifting power that can turn a strategy around real quick.
RJ Clifford's with us, MMA expert. Let's get to one last thing on the fight game. What was the biggest fight in Macau? You were just in Macau.
Well, the main event was important. It was Song Yadong versus the former champion, Davison Figueiredo. Obviously, the fight in Macau, China. Song Yadong, Chinese. He's been training in Sacramento with Uriah Faber forever now. But that was a big win for him, beating a former champion who's now gone up in weight to 135. He's been just right there kind of teetering at being a contender, and the UFC really would love to have another Chinese champion as they try to break into that market. It was just great business for them when Wei Li was the flyweight champ, 150-pound champion for them. And so Song Yadong got a big win right in the main events. And it was a bad night for China. I think China was 0-6-1 leading into the main event. So he was the lone Chinese fighter to get his hand raised. And I think if you ask everyone in that arena, if they can go the other way with it and everyone wins except Song Yadong loses, I think they'd say, hey, we want Song Yadong to win at the end. We don't care what it takes.
What is Macau like? Would you take a vacation to Macau if you weren't working? Is it a place that people should go to?
So Macau, it gets the reputation as the Las Vegas of China because it's the one place in China where you can legally bet. But the thing is with Macau, it's like they have, so it was an old Portuguese port for hundreds of years. And it was under Portuguese rule up until 25, 30 years ago. It's got its own currency. I don't think it's not part of China proper. And when you go there, there's an Portuguese Old Town. There's a zoo. And 9 of the biggest freaking casinos you've ever seen in your life. I mean, it is, as you know, I'm in Vegas twice a month, and so it's not big casinos in the Strip is anything new to me, but it is a different world over there in Macau. But like that's kind of it, right? Like in Vegas, you've got shows and sports and all these things you can do. When mainlanders go to Macau, they are there to chain smoke cigarettes and play baccarat until the wee hours of the morning. They are hardcore with their gambling.
RJ Clifford's with us. Okay, couple of football notes for Autumn Windbags. Do you have a Raiders angle on Myles Garrett going from Cleveland to the Rams?
Not really. I mean, other than, it just kind of is going to show you where the powers are in the NFL. Like the Rams and they're just, screw those picks mentality. It seems like Les Snead just has an eye for just getting things right now and knowing when your window is. And you look at the Raiders and, the window for the Raiders isn't the 2026 season. It's not even really the 2027 season. When you draft Fernando Mendoza number 1 overall, you're looking potentially the goal is for him for the next 15 years to bring 3 Super Bowls home. So it's knowing where your franchise is at all times. And a good GM knows when to push the chips in, when not to. They've got an MVP caliber quarterback still. They still got one of the best if not the best offensive mind in football as their head coach. It's knowing where your franchise is, and it made sense to go all in with this move today.
AJ Brown gets moved. Did you want him on this Raiders team this year?
No, he's going to be 29. We know the issues that he's had with the teams that he's been on. It needs to be younger. There isn't a true X on the Raiders, so I do understand a lot of Raider Nation saying like, why don't we go get him? Why you got to get a true X receiver? I don't think Clint Kubiak needs one necessarily. And he's got some really talented pass catchers already. With Brock Bowers, it'll be his offense moving forward. Ashton Genty, hopefully his hands get better as well. So there'll be targets for whoever's starting at quarterback early in this upcoming season. But no, I'm fine without him.
Let's go back to fighting the close because we found out, roughly, 8-9 days ago about UFC 329 here on July 12th. The main event will feature Conor McGregor and Max Holloway. McGregor's been away forever. Holloway is a big favorite at minus 330. But I will tell you right out of the gates, I guess, maybe I shouldn't be surprised. As I track the ticket prices for this, RJ, if anyone wants to question why Conor McGregor is back fighting when he's at a very diminished state, you just look at the demand for tickets. I mean, this has a chance to be up there with one of the highest gates ever in the history of the UFC.
It could hit $30 million gate, which would shatter just every single record. There's potential there. So put it this way. Remember when he was supposed to fight 5 years ago at UFC 303, and he pulled out a couple weeks ahead of time, and Alex Bejeda swooped in and took over, right? Yeah. That gate at the time at T-Mobile was the 4th highest gate in the history of the UFC because Conor almost fought on it. He didn't even fight on that card. Wow. And they had and commission rules are if a main event falls through, you have to give refunds to ticket buyers. Like so if you bought a ticket for Conor and you didn't, and you didn't want to see Alex, you had to get a refund. It was still at the time. It's since been, there's been some higher ones since then, but at the time it was the 4th highest gate ever because Conor was adjacent to it. Didn't even have to fight on it.
RJ, good spot, man. Let's talk to you next week. Before you leave, excited for you. Good opportunity. Should be fun times at the White House with the UFC. We'll talk to you, buddy.
Thanks, guys.
Hockey on the way back, coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. But up next, let's get to more of the Raiders, specifically in OTAs with Jesse Merrick from Silver and Black Sports Network.
Plumbers, HVAC techs, contractors, and DIYers. McFadden Industrial Hardware has the tools, parts, and supplies to power your next project. Open early and stocked with everything you need. Stop by South Decatur near Russell. McFadden Industrial Hardware, fast, easy, and built for the pros.
By July of 2025, nearly all Nevada employers will be required to offer a retirement plan to all employees. As a business, how do you even start? Just call the Vegas Chamber to get plugged into the Chamber's 401k plan. It's simple to administer, provides great options, and will quickly help your business meet Nevada's new retirement plan mandate. Visit vegaschamber.com to get plugged in.
Sponsored by the Vegas Chamber in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Some personal injury lawyers talk about less fee. But when you read the fine print, it's really an empty promise. At the Richard Harris Law Firm, every client settlement gets our less fee guarantee. Who you hire matters. The Richard Harris Law Firm.
Miss a show? Check out lvsportsnetwork.com for everything ESPN Las Vegas, 1100 AM and 100.9 FM. KWWN Las Vegas.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
If they just did that, beating the reigning defending champs and the reigning MVP 2 times over, they can absolutely win the NBA Finals. They've got a tough test in the New York Knicks, but we've been asking the question all season long about can the San Antonio Spurs skip steps for Victor Wembanyama as their best player, and the answer is an emphatic yes.
On ESPN Las Vegas, 1100 AM and 100.9 FM. It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
Stanley Cup Final starts up on our sister station, Fox Sports Las Vegas, 1340 AM, 94.7 FM. If you are not listening, then you're going to be watching somewhere, and a great place to watch it. Our sponsor throughout the finals here. All of our hockey coverage will be brought to you by our friends at Jackson's Bar and Grill, 6020 West Flamingo. That's Flamingo and Jones, home of the $22 steak. That's a garlic marinated bistro filet, or the 1 pound ribeye. Also just named by Tasting Table as one of the 7 best steaks in the country, under $30. Check it out. Jackson's Bar and Grill, Flamingo and Jones. Let's bring in Jesse Merrick, who has been toiling out at Raiders camp during weeks of OTAs. Jesse, what's going on, buddy?
Not too much. About you guys?
Well, we're excited to talk some Raiders. The news has kind of been trickling out here. I know you've been all over it, and OTAs are, what you make of them. And this is a transitional unit with the Raiders, and wanted to hear from you. What did we see? What kind of idea do we get in looks at Fernando Mendoza in terms of his development?
Yeah. I mean, look, the big thing that everyone talks about is getting used to the under center work, and they have been hammering that big time. That's this offense, and that's really any player that comes out of college in today's world. Guys just don't take a ton of snaps under center in college. So he's adjusting to that, and that's been what a ton of the work is. And outside of that, it's just kind of wrapping his head around this system and everything. And he's kind of ridden the wave, like ups and downs of it all. I wasn't actually able to attend practice last week, but the first one that I was able to watch, that first week of OTAs, he was a guy that looked solid, looked like a guy that was very much so learning the offense. Obviously there's some holding onto the ball at times, and there's no pass rush to worry about in practice, obviously. So he needs to correct that, but the accuracy and the ball placement still very much there, the thing that comes to mind for me is with that ball placement and accuracy is in an offense that's built off of, creating yards after the catch opportunities for their receivers. That accuracy is so important. That's one of the areas that I think he's really going to shine in. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do, with that kind of going forward, and just speeding up the process of it. And the one thing too, that everyone talks about, and we wrote about this in the newsletter, might sound a little corny and cheesy, but it's his mentality and the way that he kind of approaches the game and stuff, and we all knew that he was going to come in and approach it the right way, but his teammates, even Trey Tucker said recently that he has an elite mindset. For a guy that was drafted number 1 overall, you would think that he was like an undrafted rookie free agent. And I think that's super interesting to kind of watch and pay attention to see how that transpires with him and how he continues to learn and grow. And I, for one, just can't wait to see this battle really start in training camp when the bullets are flying.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you turn to that, because that's what I was going to follow up with in terms of his mentality. We see these social media posts, we see his interactions, whether it's on the field, off the field, in rapid fire questions. I know that they did something with the draft picks that they released. It said who had the most aura, and he was like, couldn't believe that he was voted for that. He just seems like he's not eating this all up, but he's wearing it well, right? He seems as if he's I don't want to say like he's not a rookie, he's mature, but at the same token, like he's well prepared for whatever's been thrown at him thus far, for being somebody who's a couple of months removed, not even a couple of months removed from the NFL draft. Have you gotten that as far as, that comfortability?
Yeah, I have. And I think part of that to me, like as you were kind of talking that out, what popped into my head was like, realize like that this kid's path, I guess, to get to where he was, to become the number one overall pick. Like he went to Cal. He wasn't at Ohio State, or Miami, or, these like, massive programs and things like that have been there. He didn't go to Alabama, whatever, and so like goes from Cal to Indiana, then turns a program that was, honestly, not even really known as a basketball school anymore. It just wasn't known for anything, Well, it definitely wasn't known for football, and goes and helps and leads them to a national championship, wins the Heisman, all that different stuff. So like the thing that I have thought about so much of just before he came out and since he's come here is I keep going back to that, because I'm like, okay, this is a guy that has been somewhere where there weren't expectations. And I'm not saying the Raiders haven't ever had expectations. Like they have a very glorious past, obviously, and they're trying to get back to that. But he's a guy that's been around a spot that has helped build a program up. So like who better to bring in when you're trying to like, bring back the shield is I think the word that the coaching staff has started to use with these guys. So from that perspective, that's where I just think he seems to be off of the field so ready to do it. But then we've seen what he's done in that same situation on the field as well. So again, it's just like, it's one of those deals where the Raiders have been on the outside looking in at quarterback for so long. And it does really seem like they got the perfect guy to help turn this around. That it's just like a no BS. I'm here to play football and has the right kind of personality to handle it as well too. It just seems like it worked out perfectly for him. Again, we haven't seen him take snaps in an NFL game yet, but everything leading up to it just seems like it's the perfect situation for them.
2 weeks of OTAs in the book with the Raiders. We're up on ESPN Las Vegas, ESPN Reno. Jesse Merrick, Silver and Black Sports Network, is with us. I'm not sure what I expected from afar, judging Klint Kubiak, but I did not expect him to be this effusive with his comments, and he's consistently been really complimentary. He said of Brock Bowers, he's kind of a football robot in a good way. He's a football robot from heaven. I'm like, okay, he really loves him some Brock Bowers.
Yeah, that was not a quote that I expected to come out of Klint Kubiak's mouth. I knew he would like Brock Bowers because this is a guy that loves himself some tight ends and 12 personnel in particular. But football robot from heaven is not something I expected to come out of his mouth, because he is just so, like, I don't want to say bland, because like I feel like when he was coming here, we all thought like, oh gosh, we're not going to get anything out of him. But then since he's been up at the podium, I have actually been pleasantly surprised what he is willing to give us and some of the things that he has said. And that's an example of it, and don't get me wrong, he's not this like guy that's going to constantly wax poetic and give you soundbite after soundbite, but that's just an example of like, oh, okay, we're going to get more than I think a lot of people expected out of it. Because it's funny too, because like, again, like we just talked about with Fernando, he's that like all ball type of guy. Brock Bowers is that times like a million. I think Devontae Adams called him the businessman because he's just that guy that comes in and goes to work. Tyler Linderbaum, their center, even joked about like, I don't know how the heck you guys get him up to the podium to talk at all, And so I think Klint just fits in well with like the people that are very likely going to be the foundational pieces for this team going forward. Ashton Jeanty is obviously factored into that as well. He's got a bit more personality and is willing to open up a bit more, and he's got his YouTube that he does and everything too. So he's out there a bit more. But like even look at Max Crosby as well. Same. Yes, I know there's all the drama that surrounded everything in the trade and all that stuff, but like in terms of on the field, like this is the guy that just puts in the work and goes to work. So I just think, again, another one of those deals where they got a coach that his mindset kind of fits with what they're doing. And I think especially in a city like Las Vegas, as great as it would be to have that personality like Gruden when they had here, it's kind of like that's probably what you need to where it's just like, hey, look, we're just coming to work.
Jesse Merrick's with us. Latest podcast you have up on SBSN, Malik Benson flashing again. What does that mean?
Yeah. So he's an interesting piece. He's the receiver they got out of Oregon in the 6th round. And I didn't quite know what to expect when they drafted him. Honestly, I was like, okay, what, is he just like a shorter version of Dante Thornton Jr. because he's a speedster? And so I'm like, all right, yes, this offense needs that. But then when you like dig into a little bit more, like he's got a bit more of a developed route tree. Yes, he runs a lot of 9 routes, a lot of vertical routes when you go look at his route tree and everything that he did. But like this is a guy that's also, too, for a speedster, willing to go over the middle, and make those tough catches, which is so critical in this offense. So I think that's going to be a guy that could surprise some people. Like, because also too, like, let's be honest, this wide receiver room on paper doesn't look like the best in the world. So like, there's opportunity for people like a 6th round pick, Malik Benson, to flash. He was something that a guy that I noticed the first week of OTAs, just getting open, finding spots in the zone, different things like that, just making himself available to the quarterback. And he and Fernando seem to have a bit of a connection. last week, reports from some of the folks that were able to actually attend practice, they said Malik and Fernando connected on a back shoulder ball, and that Malik was getting himself open a ton again. So this is what you like to see out of a kid, especially a 6th-round pick that has game-breaking speed. Dan Lanning said that his type of speed is going to translate to the NFL. He's not one of those guys that's just like track fast. He's one of those guys that plays that speed as well. So you like to see that early on from him. We'll see what that kind of develops into going forward. But I think there's more that meets the eye with him than I think a lot of us probably want to give him credit for.
Jesse, 3 minutes, 3 questions. What have we learned about OC Andrew Janocko?
Yeah. Oh, with Andrew Janocko, I'll be honest, we didn't get as much as I expected out of him when he was up at the podium, So I think he is kind of also lockstep with Kubiak as well in that like all ball approach. But he talked about how Fernando Mendoza is able to bring, what they learned in the classroom and translate it really well onto the field. That was something that stood out the most to me, was his praises to Mendoza about translating what they're teaching and working on it onto the field.
Your reaction to the Rams getting Myles Garrett?
I don't know if I can repeat it on the radio. That was crazy. F them picks, right? That's the thing everybody says with the Rams. I mean, it's crazy. They just do not care, but what a move. This is just a cheat code now for, I know Sean McVay doesn't coach the defense, but like to add a guy like that onto this team now just makes you sit back and think like, good God, this defense is going to be ridiculous with what they do with all the 5-man fronts and everything like that. This dude's just an eraser. So I feel bad for all the teams in the NFC West to have to now deal with Myles Garrett when they were already having their issues with that defense as well that the Rams have there.
And the big wide receiver trade of the day, A.J. Brown to the Patriots. You like it?
I like it for the simple fact that, like, I'm not a Patriots fan, I mean, I didn't want to touch A.J. Brown with a 10-foot pole, to be completely honest. The thing that I have constantly said each and every time anybody asks me about A.J. Brown is, if he's not happy in Philadelphia, given the situation that they had there, where in the world is he going to be happy? Like, don't get me wrong, Drake May is an awesome quarterback, and the leap that he made, so early on in his career here and all that stuff. But, like, he had a really good situation when he was on a team that was winning in Philadelphia. Yes, it's a tough city to play in and all that, but, like, I just think it's only a matter of time till we see more of the complaining and all that stuff kind of happen again. And this is coming from a former receiver, not an A.J. Brown type of receiver in myself, obviously. But, like, I know it's a diva position. To me, I just wouldn't want to touch him with a 10-foot pole from that regard.
Hey, one more thing you have up at Jesse SBSN, and you talk about this in the podcast, offensive line shuffling. Do you think the rookie is going to win the spot at left guard?
Yeah, I do, just because, like, this early on into the mix, that they're throwing this much at Trey Zune just tells me how much they like him and how much he can handle. And at some point, even though you're throwing all that stuff at him, I'd imagine you have to give him an opportunity to compete for a starting spot. And what that would look like is saying, hey, we're going to give you a shot to compete at this particular spot, which in my mind seemingly is going to be left guard for whatever period of time. And if during that period of time, he's able to translate that all into just one position, and he's able to absorb all this right now, I don't see why he couldn't do that, And again, it's not like he's got world beaters in front of him. I really like Caleb Rogers and what he brings to the table, but Spencer Burford, a guy that got brought over too, not necessarily the sexiest name in the world, but does have some good movement skills. Like, the door is wide open at left guard. They drafted him in the 3rd round after taking Caleb Rogers in the 3rd round the previous year as well. That speaks louder to me than anything else. And I think they really like this kid. So let's see what he can do working at one position after getting so much thrown at him.
Okay, I keep saying last one, but good, concise answers. Jesse Merrick's with us. You also do CityCast, Las Vegas CityCast. What was most interesting in your guide to June 2026 in Vegas?
Oh, man. Okay, so to be honest,
got about 30 seconds left.
The thing that I'm going to bring up, Public Us is my favorite thing, favorite coffee shop, favorite pastry spot.
Okay.
The thing that I'm most excited to try, and I don't have it in front of me right now, but it was like a...
Oh, what a lead in. Now we're never going to know. His phone cut out.
Okay, that's the one thing I'm eating.
You completely cut out until you said that's the one thing I'm eating. What was it again? You got 15 seconds.
It's a brownie banana ganache croissant from Public Us. Like, I saw that and I was like, good God, sign me up. I'm there. I've gone twice and haven't been able to get it. So I'm going to go a 3rd time. Hopefully that's the charm.
I just got fatter hearing you say that. That's decadent. That's amazing. All right, Jesse, we know you have a busy week. We appreciate a couple minutes today. Thanks, buddy.
For sure. You guys have a good one.
There it is. Jesse Merrick. Check it out. Silver and Black Sports Network at Jesse SBSN.
Ganache, 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 ganache.
1-877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1-877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Call 877 Cars for Kids to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now or go to carsforkids.org.
7 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
How do we get so many large verdicts and settlements? We don't back down. Over 300 wins of $1 million or more and counting. Who you hire matters. Call the Richard Harris Law Firm, 444-4444, just in case.
Looking for a new career but worried about the cost? Check out Truck U CDL training. If you're unemployed or underemployed, there are grant opportunities available that can cover up to 100% of your CDL tuition. Truck U will help explain your options and guide you through the process. They also offer flexible finance programs to fit your budget. So get on the road to a better future today. Call 702-533-3565. That's 702-533-3565.
Zips App Auto has expanded into one of the largest independent auto repair shops in the Valley. With 23 bays, over 12,000 square feet, ZipZap is your one-stop shop, offering smog tests, oil changes, detailing, bodywork, and engine and transmission rebuilding. Plus, ZipZap provides free towing and diagnostics with qualifying repairs. No appointment necessary. ZipZap Auto on Cheyenne and North Durango Drive, and online at zipzapauto.com.
Hey, Las Vegas, are you tired of plumbing prices that break the bank? At 365 Plumbing, we're bringing fair pricing back. Family owned and operated, we treat your home like it's our own. For your everyday plumbing needs, we're here 365 days a year, rain or shine, day or night. Extend the life of your water heater right now. For a limited time, take advantage of our water heater flush special for only $26. Visit us at 365plumbingnv.com. 365 Plumbing, because where the water flows, 365 Plumbing goes.
Nick here with Stefano's Greek and Mediterranean Grill. Summerlin, it's official. Stefano's is now open on Lake Mead and Buffalo. Come enjoy our beautiful dining room designed for family meals, quick lunches, and everything in between. Or swing by for fast, easy takeout with all your favorites. Gyros, bowls, shawarmas, kebabs, and our famous baklava. Our salad dressings and marinades are made with no seed oils. And our must-try fries are cooked in 100% avocado oil. The new Stefano's in Summerlin is now open. Come taste what everyone's talking about. Stefano's, real food, real fast, real healthy.
High internet costs, cell phone bill going up, streaming services you forgot you had? What if someone fixed that for you? Radiant Start Checking at West Star Credit Union includes bill negotiation experts who can lower your monthly bills and cancel subscriptions you don't need. That alone could cover the $7 monthly benefits fee. Visit weststar.org/radiantstar to learn more.
Rate checks, the survey, activation requirements, and comparison of minimum balance and membership eligibility is required to become a member. Insured by NCUA.
Harry Douglas here to help you get in on the sweet life with Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy. It's that classic throwback cotton candy flavor, but with zero sugar and a 5-hour energy boost. I keep these with me so I can tackle that sweet tooth with a tasty caffeine kick and no guilty sugary aftermath. Bring on the sweetness with Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy shots. Cotton Candy 5-Hour Energy. Available online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon.
Gambler's Bonus hits again. On April 26th, Deborah hit 4 4s, clearing her Gambler's Bonus 4-of-a-kind bingo card for over $14,000. Deborah hit big and so can you with Gambler's Bonus. It's why you play the game.
Sign up today for a new William Hill Nevada mobile sports account, and you can earn up to a $250 bonus bet after placing your first qualifying wager. The William Hill Nevada mobile sports app allows you to bet on the go from any iPhone, iPad, or Android device from anywhere in Nevada. Sign up today and you will never miss another bet. With the largest wagering menu, the mobile sports app features same-game parlays, early cash out, and live in-play wagering on all major sports. For more information, official rules, and to see participating sign-up locations, visit williamhill.us. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
There are 6 things that must be exactly perfect for your air conditioner to use less energy and last longer. If even one isn't perfect, your system works harder and wears out quicker. For just $129, Gettle will give your system a rejuvenation. We'll test and adjust all 6 things and clean the outdoor coils the right way, not the easy way. Those coils get hot, so that plaque is baked on. A garden hose just won't do it. No one knows air conditioners like Gettle. GOETTL will keep you cool, but it's hard to spell.
A power line is more than a power line.
It's maintaining the bottom line for small businesses. It's keeping the assembly line moving for our workforce. For our brightest minds, it's meeting a deadline. It's on the front line with our heroes. And on the sidelines of the biggest games. It's a direct line to our loved ones. And it's a lifeline for the most vulnerable. There's a lot on the line. NV Energy. This is what we do.
Evan Canty and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
Players that have had multiple MVPs and multiple titles. Michael Jordan, Bill Russell, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, LeBron James, Magic Johnson, Tim Duncan, Larry Bird, Steph Curry, Wilt Chamberlain. And if FGA pulls it off, he becomes the 10th name on that list. He's not on par with any of the players that I just listed.
On ESPN Las Vegas, 1100 AM and 100.9 FM. It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
You know, there's rare times, if I can say it, those rare times when you cover sports and someone gets a new gig and pretty much everyone you know is like, oh, that is freaking cool. Really cool. Cofield, Willie. UNLV baseball now has new leadership, and it's a name that's very familiar to the UNLV community, the Vegas community. Nick Garitano is the new head coach, the manager of the Hustlin' Rebels, and gives Willie and Cofield a couple minutes here, just a couple days after he was named to the gig. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Nicky G.
Hey, we're fired up, man.
What's up, Willie G?
This is really cool. Take us through, when this came together. It's got to, for you, it's got to be just a full circle moment to be back at UNLV and the head baseball coach.
See, man, this is surreal. It really is. I've got goosebumps right now. I got hair growing on my bald head. It's really knows what I'm talking about. When you're bald and you get goosebumps, you grow the head that you shaved in the morning. It's just it's amazing. I grew up in this town, and I've told people I used to go out to the stadium and watch Randall Cunningham and all the boys played out there at the stadium, 91 and 94. Used to watch basketball games at the convention center, Armin Gilliam days, and then over there with Larry Johnson at the MAC, and then coming over here when it used to be called Roger Barnstable Field. And there was 2 grass berms and on each side and a big green shack up at the top. Played high school state baseball championships here, actually won a state championship here in 91 for Chaparral High School. And to have the opportunity to come in here, when I walked into my office this morning, I had to pinch myself, to be honest with you. It's been definitely a full circle moment. And, looking at the new football facility, as walking by it this morning, I said, wow, are those kids fortunate? I remember dressing over there in the McDermott PE offices 35 years ago for football. So we're fired up, man. I can't wait to just represent this community the way that we have. I mean, I take pride in representing the College of Southern Nevada and representing Southern Nevada in general. And now it's just a step further, you're
Eric Fetty's in the pros now. You got Bryson Stott. How do you see this program? Is this program capable with, you mentioned the transfer portal, you mentioned your experiences in growing CSN, you mentioned Major League Baseball coming, guys like, Don Logan supporting Las Vegas, the Stars. We always call this a basketball town, but realistically, the Stars have been here since '83. Greg Maddux is still here. I mean, Valley great. The Rogers.
Culture, our work habits, and everything, and get with this community. And this community, I can't tell you, Willie and Steve, as you said in the beginning, I've had the outpouring of support. I mean, there's been over 800 text messages and phone calls of support. It's been overwhelming, and it's been an amazing journey so far in this short period of time. But we haven't started, so. Everybody's excited until you start your first game, and if you're on the bad side of it, everybody says, "Well, wait a minute." So, I get it. We're in baseball, but I'm going to tell you right now, we are fired up to be here and to be in a city and representing the likes of the guys that you said, of a Greg Maddux and a Bryce Harper and Bryson Stott and Eric Fetty, those guys, Matt Williams, the guys that are here, the guys who've been here, Ryan Ludwig, And one of my favorites that's not mentioned is the great Fred Dallimore. The great Fred Dallimore was the model piece here at UNLV, and then a great friend of mine, Tim Chambers, that came over here for a few years. And I've got nothing but respect for Stan Stolte and what he's done here. And we're just hoping to keep this thing alive and to get it better.
There's a difference you can feel when you step into the showroom at Finley Honda Henderson. Sure, our cars are beautiful, built to last, and our certified pre-owned inventory is one of the largest in the country. But the difference is our people. From the sales floor to the service department, we're focused on you. Because when you're the center of our attention, everybody wins. It may not be what you're used to, but we think it should be. Welcome to The Difference at Finley Honda Henderson in the Valley Auto Mall.
Are you drowning in debt? Looking for a way out? Panda Law Firm has you covered.
Our legal team has more than 60 years of combined experience in debt relief and consumer protection. We've helped countless clients break free from the burden of debt.
If you've got more than $10,000 of debt, it's time to get Panda. We'll work to find the best solution for you.
Let debt hold you back. Contact Panda Law Firm today to help you reclaim your financial freedom.
If you've got debt,
call Panda Law, 702-818-3888.
1877 Cars for Kids. KARS Cars for Kids. 1877 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Call 877-CARS-FOR-KIDS to reach a friendly live agent. Donation is super easy, and your car can be picked up as soon as tomorrow. Call us now or go to carsforkids.org.
7 Cars for Kids. Donate your car today.
Did you know you can donate real estate too?
Hey, Las Vegas, are you tired of plumbing prices that break the bank? At 365 Plumbing, we're bringing fair pricing back. Family owned and operated, we treat your home like it's our own. For your everyday plumbing needs, we're here 365 days a year, rain or shine, day or night. Extend the life of your water heater right now. For a limited time, take advantage of our water heater flush special for only $26. Visit us at 365plumbingnv.com. 365 Plumbing, because where the water flows, 365 Plumbing goes.
Beat the heat with some cool cash for betting sports on the William Hill mobile app. With the William Hill Cash Rewards program, you can earn up to $500 in cash. Earn summer rewards points for mobile wagers made until August 31st. Win or lose. You can earn even more rewards points for teasers, parlays, and same-game parlays. Sign up for the William Hill mobile app today and opt in to enroll in summer rewards. To see participating locations, visit williamhill.us. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
High internet costs? Cell phone bill going up? Streaming services you forgot you had? What if someone fixed that for you? Radiant Start Checking at West Star Credit Union includes bill negotiation experts who can lower your monthly bills and cancel subscriptions you don't need. That alone could cover the $7 monthly benefits fee. Visit weststar.org/RadiantStar to learn more.
Radiant Start Checking has a $7 monthly benefits fee. Activation required. Terms and conditions apply. Share savings with a minimum balance and membership eligibility is required to become a member. Insured by NCUA.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
Good conversation there with Nick Garitano, new UNLV baseball coach, has been at CSN for 16 years, was a big winner at Green Valley High School before that, was a kicker on the football team in the early 90s, so a true rebel, and he's really fired up. This part of the show is brought to you by our friends at Battleborn Injury Lawyer, 766-1400. Is a call from anywhere in the state of Nevada number. In the north, you get it out 775-766-1400. Justin Watkins, Matt Hoffman, and the team at Battleborn is there waiting for your call. If you need help, you need advice, we're going to be out with Justin at the Battleborn Broadcast Center on Wednesday. Tomorrow, we're going to be at LV Ballpark getting ready for the A's series in town as we get ready to cover another Aviators home series. Again, that's tomorrow, Tuesday. We'll be live at 3 o'clock on Garitano.
Yeah, one real quick thing. You mentioned Green Valley. That's where he got his coaching career started. And he is part, he went to Chaparral High School. And back then, I can't remember who the baseball coach was at Chap, but that was the football days of Bobby Johnson. But when he took over at Green Valley, he was under sort of that Roger Fairless tree, if you will. And Roger Fairless, when you think back to our old school days, like right now you think who's the greatest teams, everyone's going to go, oh, Gorman and Basic. But realistically, the old school coaches that laid the foundation from back in the day, Bill Bobier at Valley High School, Roger Fairless, the Lanny Littlefields of the day at Rancho, Bobby Johnson, as I mentioned, Chap, the Gerber brothers at Valley and Gorman. Roger Fairless went from Valley to Green Valley when it opened, and Garitano took over there. And then he goes to CSN to take over Tim Chambers. So in a long lineage of some of the greatest coaches, and Chambers came from Gorman. And now Garitano's a part of that. So as I mentioned off the air, it was a great way to intro that, Steve, because you're right. There aren't many people who you cheer for coming in. You congratulate, but at the same time feel good about Nick Garitano.
Yeah. Someone gets named to a job and, everyone's like, cool. That's a person that deserves it. A guy just got a job in the NFL. I really don't know what people think, like, in the sport of Russell Wilson. Because we didn't hear a lot of dissenting opinions on Wilson when the Seahawks were flying high and he was a rookie. But as time went along, man, we found out more and more, and a lot of it's media-driven, it's fan-driven about Russell Wilson. That said, I think he's going to be really good on TV. He's going to join CBS. He's done playing football, I suppose, for good, you would think. I don't know if he has a spot waiting for him anywhere to be a backup in the National Football League, maybe if someone's desperate. Is it too cheesy, too easy just to compare him to an A-Rod type personality? And I think A-Rod's good on baseball, on covering baseball. So if Russell Wilson is sort of affable, a player's guy, I think Russell Wilson's going to be good.
I do too, and I just think from the quarterback aspect of being able to talk about offensive sets, but at the same time, break down defenses. It's not about, it's one thing depending on the position player. And I'm not going to knock any former athlete that gets into the booth, whether they're a radio host or in the broadcast booth for games. But, for a quarterback that's done, an accomplished quarterback that's done what he's done over 14 years and being able to break down from either side of the ball what he sees, I think that, he's well-spoken, and I think that I think he's going to be actually really good.
Can I tell you the biggest thing I think former pro athletes have especially if they're handed a TV job right away, is I don't think they realize what kind of work they need to put in. And to me, the poster child for all TV people that you put up there and go, this guy could be really good, but he didn't want to work when he first did it, and now he's getting a second chance, and that's Drew Brees. Drew Brees was not good. Like, people just assume Tony Romo was, maybe I should correct that. Maybe Tony Romo was so good naturally, because now we hear about his work ethic, but he could overcome it because he was so good naturally with his knowledge of football. But I would just say this for TV people, and I'm not a TV producer, when these guys come in, it's your craft. It's your expertise. You need to hold them to a super high standard, and if they do that, then Russell Wilson can be really good. If they don't, then he's going to flop like Drew Brees did, who's kind of scuffling to stay in the game. But Russell can be really good.
Nick here with Stefano's Greek and Mediterranean Grill. Summerlin, it's official. Stefano's is now open on Lake Mead and Buffalo. Come enjoy our beautiful dining room designed for family meals, quick lunches, and everything in between. Or swing by for fast, easy takeout with all your favorites. Gyros, bowls, shawarmas, kebabs, and our famous baklava. Our salad dressings and marinades are made with no seed oils. And our must-try fries are cooked in 100% avocado oil. The new Stefano's in Summerlin is now open. Come taste what everyone's talking about. Stefano's, real food, real fast, real healthy.
Don't miss the William Hill Radio Show, hosted by Paul Howard, live this Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. at the William Hill Sportsbook in Palms Resort. Pull down all the betting action, including odds, matchups, and who bettors are backing the most. After the William Hill Radio Show, make the William Hill Sportsbook your home for betting with live, continuous in-game wagering. Don't miss the William Hill Radio Show with Paul Howard this Thursday.
If it's for the truck, give us a call. We've got it.
For the Truck is your premier truck shop. Our suspension experts will take your ride to the next level.
Steps, wheels, bumpers, suspensions, tires, covers, accessories, liners, lifts installed. For the Truck has it all.
Specializing in precision suspension tuning for sports cars, SUVs, and of course trucks. From high-end alignments to full suspension upgrades, we have everything you need.
If it's for the truck, give us a call. We've got it on 702-840-4400.
Zip Zap Auto has expanded into one of the largest independent auto repair shops in the Valley. With 23 bays, over 12,000 square feet, Zip Zap is your one-stop shop, offering smog tests, oil changes, detailing, body work, and engine and transmission rebuilding. Plus, Zip Zap provides free towing and diagnostics with qualifying repairs. No appointment necessary. Zip Zap Auto on Cheyenne and North Durango Drive, and online at zipzapauto.com.
Nothing is worse than breaking down in the Vegas heat, sitting in your car, watching the temperatures climb. Most breakdowns can be prevented. At Meineke, we check your battery, fluids, and more with a free digital inspection so you know exactly what your car needs. And right now, a synthetic blend oil change is just $34.95. Now open in Pahrump. Get in, get out, get peace of mind. Meineke, doing car care right.
Here are today's 100 days of summer promotions at Terrible's. Terrible's is offering 50 cents off per gallon and BOGO on Coca-Cola. Terrible's Gaming is giving away $500 in free play to 5 winners. Visit Terribles.com for details.
Get ready to fall in love with your next SUV at Finley Volkswagen Henderson. Right now, you can lease the all-new 2026 Volkswagen Tiguan S for just $259 a month for 36 months. With turbocharged performance, a bold new design, advanced safety tech, and a spacious interior built for every adventure, the Tiguan is the SUV everyone wants to drive. And it's all for just $259 a month. Find your vibe at FinleyVW.com. Drivers wanted. Restrictions apply. OAC $39.99 to its signing. Excludes tax, title, license, options, and dealer doc fee at $498. Expires June 30th, 2026.
Finley Volkswagen.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas and ESPN Reno.
Busy times around Las Vegas here on a Monday. ESPN Reno, ESPN Las Vegas, busy times around the state of Nevada. Vegas has the Golden Knights, and really it's Nevada's team. Golden Knights in the Stanley Cup Final. That starts up tomorrow. A's start another series on the road in Chicago. We got the NBA Final starting up with New York and San Antonio. We'll get to that in the 5 o'clock hour. We got a USC card at the White House in 2 weeks. And the Aces, as the schedule picks up a little bit. We'll get to the Aces after 5 o'clock and break down what they did against the Valkyrie. But this week, they finally return home for a back-to-back. Not a couple of back-to-backs, a back-to-back. But they're going to be at Sparks on Tuesday, then Valkyries on Saturday, Monday against the Storm. Meanwhile, the straw that stirs the drink. It's not going to start first. Caitlin Clark, who every day is Armageddon on social media. Every day. She goes out to Portland. I mean, I see what happened. But it's just right now complete meltdown time. 100-84. They lose to Indiana loses to an expansion team in the Portland Fire, who's been more than representative, by the way, so far in the way they're playing basketball. And Clark did not have a good game. She was snapping at the coach. The coach was going back at her. There was a column on Friday that came out. Caitlin Clark, backlash grows. What do you think of the story by Nancy Armour?
I thought it was pretty fair because it gave her just due, but at the same time, it just explained that some of the antics and some of the she does complain a lot.
She does. No.
But I don't like the word tantrum. It's not fair to a
So
grown
much of
woman
this
who's one of the best players in the league.
Is shining a light on the fact that there's a lot of people who watch WNBA now who've never watched sports and never watched basketball and never watched the inner workings within a game between coach and player and player and player and player v player. Yeah, the headline was Nancy Armour column, Caitlin Clark could be electric and exhausting, sometimes in the same quarter. And the highlight from the game over the weekend as they lose by 16 was a so-so start, and then they're getting blown off the floor. She gets pulled from the game, and she's bickering with Stephanie White. White fires back at her. Clark eventually stands up. It didn't last more than like 6 seconds. She didn't like flip off or flip out off to the side. This to me was a normal exchange between a coach and a player who are frustrated. Sue Bird stepped up and said, no big deal.
This isn't the first time we've seen this. It doesn't have some deeper meaning to it. I've had moments like that with coaches. I think it speaks to relationships, player-coach relationships. Like, shout out Brian Agler. You could say anything to that man, and you could keep it moving. And then I had other coaches where maybe you couldn't.
Okay. Cheryl Miller, another legend of the game, standing right next to her, said, no. This is a big deal, and there's a line she's crossing.
You knew the line. When it becomes disruptive, and then when you, and that's when even, Kelsey Mitchell kind of chimed in and said, like, you need to go stand over here and let us just regain the calm in our huddle. When it becomes that disruptive to the entire team, somebody has to step in.
I've rarely seen an athlete where everything the athlete does before, during, and after games is amped up and analyzed. I should say it's crazy, but we've seen it, but it's continuing. It's just getting more of a fever pitch.
I don't know this for sure. And I'm not part of the Indianapolis media, so I'm not reaching out to Jackie Maynard or her team, the PR team. But something tells me that what happened was they were bickering back and forth first. And if you watch Stephanie White, she looked back, and I'm trying to think who they who's the rookie, because her name's escaping right now. Raven. Is it Raven Johnson? She looks at her, you go in, and that's when Caitlin Clark got up. So I don't think it was bickering. Then she got up, and then she pulled. I think they were bickering. Stephanie White looks back at Raven, tells her she's going in, and then that's when Caitlin got up. And then they kept going. The thing is, you're in a timeout, and you're trying to get some sort of semblance for your team during that timeout to turn things around, especially when you have an explosive team like that. Like Kelsey Mitchell realistically can turn a game around. A couple of Caitlin Clark long threes could quickly turn it around. So you're trying to gather that, and Caitlin Clark's trying to take over. So I do think that at some point you got to let your coach talk. I will say that the trolls out there that are going, she can coach better than Stephanie White. They need to shut up. She needs to do this. No, listen, just relax. Her defense, which I've been saying, and you know this since she got drafted, is shoddy. It's still a D grade. She needs to. You watch. She's getting beef off the ball. Her ISOs, she just can't keep up. She's gonna have to learn to play defense.
Targeting her. Here's a guy named Gabe up on TikTok who's like, "Hey, the formula has been set, and the Fire really decided, you know what? We're gonna go at her anytime we can. We're gonna try to get switches, and anytime we can, fire this."
First, Veronica Burton exposed the pressure point. Then Portland watched the tape and did the exact same thing. Attack Caitlin Clark. 1 of 7 shooting, 6 points, 6 assists on 5 personal fouls. Portland attacked Caitlin so much that they forced the Indiana Fever's hand to bench her in the second half, which is why this bench moment right here with Coach White and Caitlin Clark matters so much. It forced the Indiana Fever to not play Caitlin Clark, subbing her for Raven Johnson. That's the part that ultimately matters. The Golden State Valkyries created the blueprint.
What's it remind you of most recently? James Harden. Didn't they attack James Harden? Now, of course, Caitlin Clark still got young legs underneath her. She's a third-year pro. She didn't play last year. She played 13 games, then she missed the season. But nevertheless, so if that's the formula, then go after her and play physical and run your body into her. If she can stand up and take it, then they'll get the offensive foul. Otherwise, that's the way to beat them, and it's going to work against her. It's sort of going to wear her down on the other side too, and it could lead to bad offensive nights. Right now, there's a lot of frustration with Fever, and the fans aren't helping things. Calling for Stephanie White's job is ridiculous at this point. It's a matter of just getting everybody on the same page and getting everyone in sync. What I will say is this, and I've stood my ground with this. If you're going to start a franchise to make money, to sell jerseys, to sell seats, Caitlin Clark's your go-to girl. But as far as the overall player, she's just not it, and she's not the best player of the team. Kelsey Mitchell's. At some point, Caitlin Clark's got to stand back, save those conversations she wants to have on the bench during timeouts for practices, and let Stephanie White do her job. If it doesn't work, then you call for her job. But right now, I think she's too involved. And we were saying this last year where she was so involved, her and Sophie Cunningham, when they were injured, they're on the court, they're arguing with the refs, they're playing the role of assistant coach, they're in the timeouts. She's got to know her role. And she's at some point, Caitlin Clark's got to accept that. And Stephanie White's got to, at the same token, take in consideration who she has on her team.
Yeah, the public displays going back and forth aren't helping. But again, I'm not going to kill him for that because that's sports, man. That's basketball. You get worked up. Here's a lady named Cassie up on TikTok talking about the other issue here, and that is maturity and want to be a team player.
We're not saying the quiet part out loud. The quiet part out loud is not Indiana having coaching issues. It's that Caitlin Clark lacks leadership and emotional regulation. Is she coachable or not? Is she a culture player? The way that Caitlin Clark is acting is not a new concept. She's a great player who's probably been told that she's great her entire life.
There's been no pushback. And I think what this lady Stephanie White is doing, especially the defensive stuff, because it was really bad at the beginning of the Portland Fire game. I think she's telling her, I don't care if you're going to average 24 points a game and make your threes and you're a fan favorite. We have to freaking break you of the bad habits. And one, I love that. Being able to regulate your emotions, you got to get better at that on the floor and off the floor. But most importantly, you've got to get better defensively because you can score 30 a game, but if you're giving up 35 or giving up 28, that doesn't do us any good. And this happens in basketball where you've got someone who is a pure scorer and you have to kind of teach them like, hey, the scoring is not everything. We're going to have to be really dramatic here and pull you from the game.
Have you seen the clip that's surfacing? It just started surfacing, I think, yesterday and then today from where she threw. And here I'll use the word, but she threw an all-out tantrum on the bench while she was at Iowa. And it was so far back that even it's very grainy. Like, it's not even clear. Like it might have been an older iPhone or something, but the Yeah, she's slamming stuff, and the coach almost looks petrified. Like, what is going on? Like a real crash out on the bench. It was wild.
Well, you would hope Indiana Fever Management has Stephanie White's back. She's been coaching long enough. She's had enough success and I'm sure she's telling them, like, hey, she's got some bad habits. Caitlin Clark's got some bad habits. It's going to be a firestorm. People are going to hate me. They're going to hate us. They're going to threaten us. It's going to get really ugly, but I'm trying to make her a better basketball player and make us a better team.
You know who, if Caitlin Clark, it's going to be funny because we talked about this last week a little bit, but you know who is perfect for Caitlin Clark if Caitlin Clark, if she can just calm her temperament and play the buffer and actually teach her defense? Breon January, Stephanie's assistant coach, because that is her specialty. She was locked down when she was a player. She's a great assistant coach, and she's a great middle person to let Stephanie, you know what, let me have Caitlin. And if Caitlin could just buy in and shut up for a minute, I think Bree would be absolutely, and she's a great person. Bree January is actually a really good person. So I think don't be surprised if we see something come out and surface, later this season where you hear some story where they bonded and Bree January stepped in and helped Caitlin Clark.
It's not exactly the same story, but along the coaching lines, there are some similarities where you've got a big name superstar with the Fever, can score, has never been told no, has very, very rarely been benched. I think we all need to watch what Mitch Johnson is going to do with the Spurs here in the finals. First of all, I don't think most of the NBA community even knows who he is. He's 39 years old. He's been given a team with a unicorn who, for the most part, can self-regulate and is actually kind of a model citizen on the basketball court because he doesn't lose it too much. You hear him in press conferences, he's not blaming people. He takes the blame on himself. But the other part of that team that's amazing is they go into this finals as one of the youngest lineups ever. And he's also got to manage Castle, who's 21. Awesome player. He's got to manage Dylan Harper, who's 20. Like, they have a ton of young talent led by a superstar who's 22. If they win the title and they're able to regulate their emotions and not turn the ball over, they're very talented. But you know what kind of coach it takes to meld that together when you're blending in rookies and second and third year players?
How old did you say?
Who's that?
The coach?
39.
And the oldest player out of that?
20, well, I'm talking about the star players.
No, I'm talking about the stars.
21 and 20.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Just perspective. Think about LeBron is still playing with his son who's in that age rate. I don't know why I thought of that.
Well, he's in the same, the same AAU, prep community as the latter two guys.
Yeah.
Now what they're doing is incredible. We'll get to the rooting interest in that one. We'll get to that. Last minute here, and we'll carry it over to the 5 o'clock hour, and then we're going to talk to Caleb Herring about a giant day in football where Myles Garrett went to the Rams in a trade. June 1st cut day. Usually it's like, the old veterans, cut them, save some money. Today, Myles Garrett got moved, and that's completely overshadowing a really big character in the NFL in A.J. Brown. Yesterday went a lot better for the Aces than the previous game.
Yeah,
A'ja Wilson nutted up because they got pushed around in that
did.
previous game. She had 28 and 15, and you've been pointing out the fact that Jackie Young just has not been Jackie Young so far consistently as a scorer this season.
Yeah, and I asked Becky Hammond about it on the Zoom, and she said that, yes, there was something going on. They had conversations. It'll stay between them, but Jackie's going to be Jackie. She scored 15 in the loss to Dallas. She picked up 23 points and was 1 assist shy of a double-double yesterday, but that was a huge win for them in Frisco.
Plumbers, HVAC techs, contractors, and DIYers. McFadden-Dale Industrial Hardware has the tools, parts, and supplies to power your next project. Open early and stocked with everything you need. Stop by South Decatur near Russell. McFadden-Dale Industrial Hardware. Fast, easy, and built for the pros.
Here's your chance to own a luxury vehicle at a non-luxury price. Hi, this is Brennan, General Manager at Jaguar Land Rover Las Vegas. Come and see a variety of our certified pre-owned vehicles at Jaguar Land Rover Las Vegas or visit us online at jlrlv.com.
Harry Douglas here to tell you about Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots.
It's a fruity candy flavor explosion, and I mean explosion. Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots, a zero sugar treat that's sweet tooth approved. These can take care of my candy cravings and provides a tasty caffeine kick without all the sugar. Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots. Get candy flavored chaos with Fruity Rainbow 5-Hour Energy Shots. Available online at 5hourenergy.com or Amazon.
Sign up today for a new William Hill Nevada mobile sports account, and you can earn up to a $250 bonus bet after placing your first qualifying wager. The William Hill Nevada mobile sports app allows you to bet on the go from any iPhone, iPad, or Android device from anywhere in Nevada. Sign up today and you will never miss another bet. With the largest wagering menu, the mobile sports app features same-game parlays, early cash out, and live in-play wagering on all major sports. For more information, official rules, and to see participating sign-up locations, visit williamhill.us. Must be 21. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
The NBA Finals, Game 1 Wednesday, Game 2 on Friday. Listen in starting at 5:30 on ESPN Radio, 100.9 FM and 1100 AM.
Brought to you by the Richard Harris Law Firm. Just in case, call 444-4444.
Listen to UNLV Sports right here on ESPN Las Vegas, 1100 AM and 100.9 FM, KWWN, Las Vegas. What did they just say?
You don't have to yell at us. Nobody is on the other side of this issue.
Hit us up on the Bay Law text line, 702-364-1100. Bay Law Injury Attorneys. Winning is not an accident. Live from the Finley Toyota Studios, it's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
Massive day around the National Football League. We'll hit a lot of it with Caleb Herring, Myles Garrett traded, A.J. Brown traded. This is a tremendous, incredible week for Las Vegas. Next 2 weeks, Stanley Cup Final. We'll have games 3 and 4, and we'll see where the series goes from there. Maybe it'll be a sweep again. Probably not against Anderson and the Carolina Hurricane. Fledgling, kind of non-hockey market. Not like us. We're hardcore here. I'll explain that in a couple minutes. We got a lot of NBA to get to because what the Spurs did, a lot of people consider a gigantic favor to the basketball community because the hatred for OKC was building and building and building. And I already laid it out at the beginning of the show. If you didn't hear it, listen, in the end, none of us really want to or should have to root for billionaires. But if you got to pick your poison, and I get some of the reasons why the hockey community around the NHL don't like the Vegas Golden Knights. Most of it is jealousy. But if you do a little research and you know who this owner is of the Carolina Hurricane, Tom Dundon, who now owns the Blazers, now owns one of your favorite chain Chinese restaurants. It's all part of private equity. I own everything. I got my hand in everything.
Wait a minute, part of my favorite?
Not just in general. I was saying for the audience.
Oh, okay.
So who knows what's going to happen to the orange chicken? I'm sure it'll have less chicken. You'll have to pay, hey, can you put some extra chicken in there? Or actually, can you give me a good helping of chicken? Oh, you have to double and triple it. That'll be $5 and $10 more. That's what's happening. Private equity, up yours. I'm sure they're going to buy the radio station. There's going to be an AI Steve Cofield working. Then they'll, I'm done. That's why I don't even care anymore. I know they're coming for me. The Dundons of the world, private equity.
Wow.
And they're not. This is not good for sports unless you get an owner who looks at it as a true investment, wants to make money. And how do you make money? By branding and marketing off of winning. And when you compare these two owners, Bill Foley gets it. I'm not saying, he's a saint in skates, but he gets it. He's got connections to the community. He wants to win. Sometimes that comes at an emotional cost for you folks who are fans of the Golden Knights. And someone who works in private equity, who is a cheap ass, like Tom Dundon, if that guy wins with the Carolina Hurricane, if they win a Stanley Cup, it puts a stamp of approval on, the miserly, who these guys are? And it is probably my favorite movie, and I only watch it once a year. Tom Dundon is that son of a bitch, Mr. Potter. We're all going to be living in Dundonville.
Dundonville.
That's what PE does too. They just buy up all our houses. You look around, you're like, where did, like, average Joe, we can't buy a house anymore because of the Tom Dundons of the world.
You're fired up.
Well, I mean, there's a lot of private equity people, and we could probably lay it at the feet of. I love the Raiders private equity guys; they're great. But they're all cut from different cloths, and overall, this is not good. Collecting assets, collecting our sports teams, mistreating our athletes, mistreating us as fans. So, go Knights. Sorry, Carolina, you can't control who your owner is. But I ain't rooting for you, and
Go
I'm not
Knights,
rooting
go.
for the Tom Dundons of the world. I'm curious to hear this. Has this guy ruined the concession stands at their arena? Do they have good beers? They have good drinks? They have good food?
I do.
Does this guy get it, or is he a cheap ass?
I do want the feedback. I especially want the feedback from Section 130. You know what's in Section 130? Willie's Hot Chicken. They got another one called Sup Dogs. Legendary Greenville College Bar brings its gourmet hot dogs and branded vodka drinks. Sup Crush.
I mean, the places at
I'm
their
looking
arena
it up.
sound interesting.
Alpaca Peruvian Chicken. The Barbecue Lab. Buffalo Brothers. Buffalo Brothers offers fresh baked personal pizzas, chicken wings featuring signature sauces. There's a Chick-fil-A in there. Fiesta Tacos. The Mac Bar. Mac and cheese. Signature mac and cheese. Do you know how to make mac and cheese?
Not like you.
Handy Hugo's Marketplace. Shake Shack. We got a Shake Shack here. Tambachi. Rally food truck favorite. Hibachi dishes. Two Roosters ice cream. The Carvery. We got a Carvery here. Dippin' Dots. I remember when Dippin' Dots first came out. You know where I was introduced to Dippin' Dots?
Where?
Beaumont, Texas.
Okay. Why did that have some significance?
Every time I hear Dippin' Dots, they had
That's what you
just
think of?
they had just started. It was at a softball tournament. I was covering a nationally ranked girls 18 and under. They went to nationals and they had finished runner up the year before. So I traveled with the team to cover them in Beaumont, Texas. Man, was that a humid and nasty place. North Carolina Barbecue Company. I'm just reading through the places.
We can tell.
Wicked Weed Brewing.
They've got multiple breweries there.
Sausage
so
Stop.
they do it up. I mean, reading the names doesn't really tell us if the place is
No, but
treating
it's
its fans
Carolina
well.
and it's in the South. I mean, it's Tobacco Road. They better these places. I'm reading the names of the place. I'm not going each one, but I'm reading the ones where they stand out. Like, this looks like a place I would stop and look at the menu, look at the food, maybe ask a couple people. If I was a traveling media, I don't know. The NHL does a pretty good job as far as what they serve for their meals and whatnot. But I might get, you're going to Carolina, you're going into like Nashville. I would go to the concessions to see what they're serving and ask some people. I might, pony up a 50 spot, write it off, charge it to Lotus.
Do you feel like the Vegas Golden Knights and the fans here, that the Hurricanes, it's kind of beneath them? Neophyte, Southern region hockey fans. What do they know about
I
hockey?
think it's the other
What do
way
they know
around.
about hockey compared to us?
I think it's the
We're
other way
mostly
around.
transplants from NHL markets. Let me finish the rant.
Okay.
We're mostly transplants from NHL markets.
Mm-hmm.
We're grizzled.
Mm.
We know the sport. I know the sport.
Yeah, sure.
Come on.
New Jersey.
Long time Devils backer.
Yeah, sure. Rutgers. You covered Rutgers hockey. I think it's the other way around.
There actually is a lot of, I think there's a lot of dislike from the traditional hockey markets for this series.
Yeah.
Listen, this was, the NHL needs this. This was the grand plan. Whether you like Bettman or not, they have executed the grand plan, and that is expand the NHL to markets you'd never expect teams to do well in. And apparently Carolina is a robust market, and they've had a winning franchise. They just haven't broken through. They finally broken through here to the Stanley Cup final. This has turned out to be a good hockey market. And why did the NHL have to do this? Well, because the league has a lot of lousy, crappy owners in these traditional markets. The Canadian owners suck, frankly. They do. You know that the Knights now have, in their 9-year existence, they've won 16 playoff series over the course of 9 years. All of the Canadian teams combined over that same period of time have won 17 series. All of the organizations
combined.
We've won 16.
Yeah.
They've combined won 17.
Well, we haven't, but
we're now looking at Hockey Nation Canada going on 32 years.
Hockey
This is
Night
33rd without a Stanley Cup. That is guaranteed because Vegas and Carolina are in it. So I don't say thank you, Gary Bettman, very often because Gar kind of, can rub you the wrong way. But the expansion has worked and it has grown the sport. And some of the best organizations, I mean, you would argue that some of the best organizations are actually a lot of the sunny places like Vegas, like Dallas, like Tampa, like Miami.
Well, somebody
like Carolina.
Somebody put out there. Somebody put a graphic out there as far as the last X amount of that it's either warm weather or no tax states that have
want to
lasted.
mention that part.
Lightning,
maybe we have an unfair
Panthers,
advantage.
Golden Knights, Avalanche. Isn't Colorado?
We ask a lot of questions on the show that I don't have the answers to.
Yeah.
We do that a
So,
But definitely Florida, Texas, and Nevada. It seems like they're attractive places that players want to go to. And we already got into, I'm not rehashing again, the whole Marner-Toronto thing where playing in some of those markets can be a living hell. They're not necessarily pleasant. Well, we know they're not pleasant weather places to play, but if the fans are going to freaking torture you.
Death threats.
Who wants to play there? And yet the story going into the series, who's the most important player in the series?
Overall?
Yes. It's Freddie Anderson. They have to get him. They have to get him out of this run. Willie has allowed 20 goals in 13 games?
He's playing great. He's been the most efficient goaltender, but I think Montreal was tired and fatigued. Yeah, he's been a better goaltender than Carter Hart. His goals against average is certainly better than Carter Hart's, but it's hard to. For me, it's hard to, when you cover a series, it's hard to say, well, Freddie Anderson hasn't had to protect, but just a few goal lead here and there. There was one game where Montreal came out in game 1 and threw a 6 spot on the board. Other than that, he hasn't had the goal support, but he hasn't needed it. Whereas the Golden Knights are putting goals in the net, and so Carter Hart may give up 2 or 3, and his goals against average may be 2.4, 2, whatever it is. But he's got an offense behind him, and he's got depth, and that's the difference. So the most important player overall, you could say Freddie Anderson, but on the other side of it, you know who I might say for the Golden Knights? Jack Eichel. Because he makes things happen. He's the best, as we've heard John Tortorella say, but people have been saying this long before Tortorella. People have been saying this since the first championship. He's the best 200-foot center in hockey. He may not be the fastest like Connor McDavid, but if you've ever sat and just watched him, he is an artist with what he can do, dancing in and out of defenders on 3-on-1 with the puck, on defense with whether it's back checking, forechecking, you name it. The guy is just masterful at what he does. So if he wants to take over a game like a point guard or a sharpshooter in the NBA or the WNBA, like a skill position player in the NFL, Jack Eichel will do it, and he will make whoever's around him better. And what does that mean? He will orchestrate the offense to give Carter Hart a lead. So for me, it's just as easy to argue that Jack Eichel is the most important person in this series as Freddie Anderson for Carolina.
So I can build the case that the most evil character in the series is Tom Dundon, the owner of Carolina. Now, I do understand that there's a reason why there are guys on the VGK side that a lot of hockey fans don't like. Fans, unfortunately, a lot of you guys are kind of dopey, and you make players into the enemy because they want to move on and or they can't get along with, one of these traditional franchises that fails them and can't win. So I know Eichel, and right now, the hottest villain for people outside of Vegas would be Mitch Marner. So Vegas is the bad guy, and I accept that. You and I are Vegas guys, so we'll puff out our chest and, tell them F you.
Is this, let me ask you a question.
Bring it. Let's go.
Is this for
Tobacco
you,
Road dirtbags.
for you as a radio guy, a lifelong radio guy, and I say that meaning, your adult life, in a situation like this, do you find it difficult? I don't even know. I was going to say, does you find it hard to take your journalism hat off and actually cheer and be for fit? But like for me, sitting here like this, if you and I are just talking, we're kibitzing, going back and forth, I could talk like a Vegas guy that's been here since 72, remembering the good old days from Mobtown kid to pro sports journalist, and cheer for the Golden Knights. But next week when they get here, it's objectivity. There's no cheering. There's no rooting. There's no sitting there on press row internally hoping. It's a matter of don't go to overtime and let me meet deadline. You know what I mean?
I'm rooting for quick games.
But do you find it easy, even if it's UNLV, when they were going, you're part of the broadcast. In a sense, you're part of the media that's covering them. If you got to knock somebody, you're going to have to knock them. But do you find it easy in situations like this to cheer?
It's easy, yes. And I can always come up with why they're the enemy. I can always come up with
Tom Dundon.
Yeah. I can always find something.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, let's not,
What if the other
I
team
grumbled a minute ago about Tobacco Road.
Yeah.
That area is way more known for what over hockey, college basketball. So
or NASCAR.
Duke and Carolina, the dislike of those schools that never goes away from me.
No.
So not that Freddie Anderson has anything to do with.
No, yeah, he definitely doesn't. Yeah.
I was trying to come up with an old center from North Carolina or some evil center from Duke.
I will say this:
Cherokee Parks.
If there is one good story to come out of Carolina that
Joe Wolf
that nobody has a reason to dislike is Rod Brindamore is a good story. Here's a chiseled guy from playing days to coaching that has really done a great job as a coach and. Is very well respected around the league, not just by his players. And he's a cool story. I mean, obviously, I won't be writing about it. That'll be the Carolina-based AP guys, and Mark Anderson and I. They'll hand it off to us. It'll be he and I taking it for games 3 and 4 and potentially 6. But in terms of the Carolina side, outside of the players, Brindamore's a good story.
The team at the top of its sport that I can't jump on board with the dislike or the hatred of, I complain about them, is OKC. And I got to tell you, I'm genuinely disappointed they didn't make the finals. The Spurs will make it easy to pick the side to root for against the Knicks, but I really wanted the villains of the NBA to be in the finals and have that spotlight and have the officials under that spotlight and have flopping under that spotlight and have the loudest, most obnoxious fans in the NBA, the Knicks, as part of that spotlight, flipping out about SGA. And all you got to do is you just watch people talk about the NBA. You'll watch people talk about OKC. Do we have this guy going nuts on the Thunder here? And he's just like, you know what? Thank you. America is great again. The Spurs have fixed everything by dumping OKC on its head.
We need to make sure that we keep on hating the Oklahoma City Thunder. Let's not lose focus just because they lost. What they did was not just bad for the game of basketball. It was bad for democracy. It's bad for children, bad for the economy, healthcare, just our basic sense of decency. But I do want to say a thank you to the entire Thunder organization, because for the first time in like 15 years, I have hope that the flopping rules will finally be addressed. And they should have done this 10 years ago when James Harden was acting a fool in Houston. But what you guys did was so egregious and so over the top on both ends of the court. That's why people hated you, not because you were.
Yeah, that's why you were hated.
Democracy, children,
healthcare. I hate healthcare, and it's all OKC's fault.
And
pharmaceuticals, and Tom Dundon.
And Tom Dundon.
Tom Dundon must have a hand that he's got to own some pharmaceutical
somewhere
stock
in OKC.
We're going to cross all the paths. I like that. As of the middle of last week, you're like, Tom Watson, who? And now I've built this guy into like the evil overlord.
Every time you say the name, you know what I think of?
Dundon.
I think of Dunder Mifflin from that show. What is it? The Office.
While they're off the air, he tried to buy it and rebrand it. That's why Steve Carell was off the show. He bought it years ago. He bought the rights and he cut him off the show. He's making too much money.
I saw a graphic.
The OKC hate is real.
I saw a graphic on X, Twitter. Joe Madden. She does sports picks. She does her own thing. She put a graphic up the United States and it said the whole thing was cheering for the Spurs and the logo right in the middle of and then the only state cheering for the Knicks. And I was like, I know more Knicks fans in Southern. I don't think that that's true. You think the entire country outside of New York is cheering for the Spurs and New York is I don't think so.
I think we are much.
I think this is a bigger Knicks.
No, I think we're of the villains that are left. VGK is the biggest villain of the four that are left in basketball and hockey.
Oh no,
because I saw the same graphic.
Oh yeah,
where it was like little corner of Nevada.
Oh yeah,
where VGK's ISO'd and the entire country is rooting for Carolina. It's like I guess I already laid out the case for you.
I don't think that her point was though as far as villainizing the Knicks. I just think that she meant that that's the only place that's cheering. Everybody wants the Spurs to win. Maybe it was because of Wemby. Maybe it was because of this. I just don't believe in that. I think that there's more. I think that I bet you if we went around and polled, I mean, think about how many you just talked about. How many New Yorkers do you know that have moved to Las Vegas? I think there's more Knicks fans here than Spurs fans.
Is it a rare case where a New York team is actually the sympathetic character because they haven't won in so long? Are there some people who are going to glom onto that? I will not. But I do think there are people who are like, hey, it's a cool story, man. They haven't won since they made the final since '99. They haven't won since most of us have been alive.
I will tell you this.
Willie and I were here.
I will tell you this. If a New York team is in a championship series or a championship game, and I don't have a rooting interest, meaning the Cowboys, the Lakers, the Dodgers, I'm cheering just in general because it's where I was born.
I wasn't born there, so I'm not cheering.
No, but I'm just saying in general. So I'll cheer for the Knicks. I'll cheer for the Yankees. I'll cheer for well, I don't know about the Jets or the Giants, but Super Bowl, I'm usually I'm pulling for where all my money's at.
Here's a lot of the roots. A lot of the roots of this are also why would you root for the Jets? It's more fun watching me miserable. Why would you want to be happy for me? And that's the biggest thing for me with the Knicks is I know enough Knicks fans, good and bad, that unfortunately the bad ones I don't want to see them happy.
You know how it's usually
mean like that. I am.
You know how it's usually what is it? Mets, Jets, Islanders, Rangers, Giants, Yankees. Where do the Knicks and Nets fall in that, or as far as Jets are concerned? Because the Nets were
there's no
Nets.
There's no Nets.
They're in Brooklyn.
There's no Nets.
There's no Nets.
It's like
there's no Nets.
There's no split. It's not 70-30, 60-40, 80-20. In that area, it's 97-3 Knicks.
Lovely.
No one cares about the Nets. I'm like one of the only true kind of Nets fans because I actually would go like that was New Jersey. I would go to the games as a kid. We didn't go to MSG, and now that they're in Brooklyn, I'm kind of that chaps my ass a little bit.
You're fired up today.
I am fired up. Caleb Herring's coming up in a couple minutes. Let's get back to the NFL. Big day for the Rams. Big day for the Browns as well. Myles Garrett on the move. If you're looking for a good time throughout the Stanley Cup Final, hometown hockey headquarters for Cofield and Company is Jackson's Bar and Grill, 6020 West Flamingo. Flamingo and Jones. They got Pass the Puck and Slapshot. You can win up to $775 in free play. With their gaming, and that's during the games. During the games is when they offer the free play contest. You want to get down there for the great steaks, $22 on the garlic marinated bistro filet, $22 on the 1 pound ribeye, and they just got named by Tasting Table a top 7 steak in the country for under $30. Top value steak. I've been telling you, right? And people are starting to notice. Jackson's Bar and Grill, 6020 West Flamingo. As our Vegas heroes will go for the Stanley Cup. It all starts tomorrow with Game 1 on a Tuesday.
Got something to say? Hit us up on the Bay Law text line. 702-364-1100. Brought to you by Bay Law Injury Attorneys. Winning is no accident.
Hey, Las Vegas, are you tired of plumbing prices that break the bank? At 365 Plumbing, we're bringing fair pricing back. Family owned and operated, we treat your home like it's our own. For your everyday plumbing needs, we're here 365 days a year, rain or shine, day or night. Extend the life of your water heater right now. For a limited time, take advantage of our water heater flush special for only $26. Visit us at 365plumbingnv.com. 365 Plumbing, because where the water flows, 365 Plumbing goes.
Hey, it's JT. Grimaldi's is hands down my favorite pizza in Vegas. Only at Grimaldi's can you get their famous New York-style coal-fired brick oven pizza. Grimaldi's has 4 locations in the Vegas Valley, or check them out online at grimaldispizzeria.com.
If you need to sell your house, talk to Aaron Taylor. You want to sell it fast and get the most cash, talk to Aaron Taylor,
the real estate guy. Aaron Taylor here, your real estate guy.
And Jacob Taylor. If you're serious about selling your home, then listen up. In today's market, the truth matters. We'll tell you exactly where your home stands, what buyers are thinking, and what it will actually take to get your home sold. And then we back it up with one of the biggest marketing machines in Nevada. Radio, TV, digital, social media, Google, everywhere buyers are looking, your home gets seen. That helps make the Real Estate Guy one of the most recognized real estate brands in Nevada for over 30 years. And if you need speed, we can even buy your home for cash in as little as 24 hours and offer cash advances for qualifying sellers. So call the Real Estate Guy today. 702-310-MOVE. That's 702-310-6683. eXp Realty, license number 38886. Call for details.
talk to Aaron Taylor,
The real estate guy.
Nothing I hate in the car business more than a bunch of damn liars. That's why I created GiveMeTheVIN.com. Go to Give Me the VIN, put in your license plate number, we'll buy your car. We do what we say we're going to do when we say we're going to do it without a bunch of games. We come to you with a check or pay off your payoff. Look at what people have had to say about GiveMeTheVIN.com. It's real. It's here. We're the Amazon now of car buyers, and we want to buy yours.
Sell us your car. GiveMeTheVIN.com. So easy you can do it in your underwear.
An evening with Third Eye Blind. Third Eye Blind, live in concert. Playing a career full band electric set live at Pearl Concert Theater at Palms Casino Resort Saturday, June 6th. Get tickets now at AXS.com. For more, visit thirdeyeblind.com.
Don't miss the William Hill Radio Show, hosted by Paul Howard, live this Thursday from 6 to 7 p.m. at the William Hill Sportsbook inside the Palms Casino Resort. Paulie will break down all the betting action, including odds, matchups, and who bettors are backing the most. After the William Hill Radio Show, make the William Hill Sportsbook your home for betting with live, continuous in-game wagering. Don't miss the William Hill Radio Show with Paul Howard this Thursday.
Jake from State Farm. I just beat my running PR, so I'm celebrating with the Banana Bonanza smoothie.
Hey, and you can keep celebrating when you create an affordable price just for you by bundling your home and auto with the State Farm Personal Price Plan. Go bananas.
I will. Hey, make it a large.
Bundling, just another way to save with the Personal Price Plan. Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Prices are based on rating plans that vary by state. Coverage options are selected by the customer. Availability, amount of discounts and savings, and eligibility vary by state.
Plumbers, HVAC techs, contractors, and DIYers. McFadden Industrial Hardware has the tools, parts, and supplies to power your next project. Open early and stocked with everything you need. Stop by South Decatur near Russell. McFadden Industrial Hardware. Fast, easy, and built for the pros.
Zip Zap Auto has expanded into one of the largest independent auto repair shops in the Valley. With 23 bays, over 12,000 square feet, Zip Zap is your one-stop shop, offering smog tests, oil changes, detailing, body work, and engine and transmission rebuilding. Plus, Zip Zap provides free towing and diagnostics with qualifying repairs. No appointment necessary. Zip Zap Auto on Cheyenne and North Durango Drive, and online at zipzapauto.com.
It's Cofield and Company on ESPN Las Vegas.
Stanley Cup Final starting up tomorrow on Fox Sports Las Vegas, our sister station, 1340 and 94.7 FM. Willie's here. It's Cofield. It was a massive day. Usually, June 1st, you're looking for, some older veterans, 32, 33. Oh, you got cut, sucks. The NFL's cutthroat. Now someone can pick up a guy who was a big name and maybe worth a couple of dollars here and there. But my God, Myles Garrett gets traded on the post-June 1 AJ Brown on the move. Caleb Herring is with us. We're going to get to the NBA in a couple of minutes, but Caleb, for NFL fans, I've been talking a lot about rooting interest, who you're rooting for in the NHL and the NBA. I'm guessing the Rams are starting to kind of build up a legion of fans around the country who don't like them, jealous fans, because they did it again, man. F them picks, and they get Myles Garrett.
It's amazing what they're able to do. I've been kind of of the school of thought where I value players over picks. I think picks can turn into players, obviously, but you never know what you're going to get with a pick down the road, a year out. But with a player like Myles Garrett, you know exactly what you're going to get. You're going to get a defensive force, the reigning defensive player of the year, sack record holder, you name it, in the prime of his career at that. So we knew the defense of the Rams, especially toward the end of the season, did not look championship level, and most of it was attributed to the secondary. But how do you help your secondary? You get them a pass rusher that doesn't let other quarterbacks throw the ball often, right? So they're emptying the cupboard to do what they got to do to win now. They've got a window with Matt Stafford, maybe a year or two, depending on how he feels. And I think they are ready to go after the Super Bowl, host it in LA this year, and win it this time, and instead of coming up short. To
me, the Rams equal what the Vegas Golden Knights do in the NHL. And I don't want to go too deep diving on this, but I do have to mention, I really do believe that the history of Major League Sports in this country is mostly dotted with owners who really don't like their players and get really uncomfortable when they make a lot of money, because it's like, I don't have to pay my other employees this much money. Well, that's the way the game is played. The players are the commodity, and yes, you actually have to pay them. And I really do believe Stan Kroenke, well, believe me, he's got his own Mr. Potter qualities. I was talking about Dundon, the owner of Carolina and Portland, as a Mr. Potter from It's a Wonderful Life. Kroenke's got some weaknesses as well, but what he does is he lets his people, basketball, football, hockey, go out. Hey, you want to spend money on a big player? Soccer, hey, the players are where it's at. And that's where VGK and the Rams and good organizations are unique. There is no animosity because someone arrived and they're making lots of money. We need star players. We want to win.
I think there's a history, like you said, you think about the great, especially in basketball, of there being tension between star players and the management. And that has kind of plagued the league to a certain extent. And you translate to football a little bit. I think basketball more. But those ownership groups that are willing to, one, put that to the side and do what they have to do to make their star players happy and satisfied with where they are for the time of there, that's one aspect of it. But then having that respect on top of the ability to call it quits when it's time to call it quits with a relationship, I think that is just as important to both of these teams. You look back, the Rams were Jared Goff got them to a Super Bowl and they lost. It was an absolute shock that they were willing to let him go, right? Like to let him walk and trade him, obviously, but to let him go. And it was like, well, he's a Super Bowl runner-up quarterback. You've got a guy, right? Like that was kind of the thought process. But they were willing to say, this move makes us better for whatever the reasons are, and it worked out for them, right? And same thing with Golden Knights. You've got guys like that were the part of the original team that got that first Stanley Cup. And the Knights as a management group were like, you know what? We love this guy. He'll probably have a statue outside of T-Mobile by the end of his career. But at this point in our team's future, we've got to cut him loose. And fans didn't like it at the time. But lo and behold, now the Knights are in their third Stanley Cup final in 9 years, which is absurd. But it's because of that ability and willingness to be able to call it quits when it's time with those stars that you treated well while they were there. You treated them phenomenally. And then when it's time to let them go, you let them go. And that's what the Knights did.
Well, this is true. With the Aces, I don't think that they're ever and should never get rid of A'ja Wilson. And in San Antonio, they got a young man in Victor Wembanyama who reaches his first NBA Finals. San Antonio goes into OKC, knocks off the champs, and now you have San Antonio, New York. Is the entire country, Caleb, except for the state of New York, cheering for the Spurs?
I would say it's close. I would say there's a pocket maybe of Laker fans who have an issue with San Antonio succeeding, and because of what the future for San Antonio looks like, comparatively with that franchise, it's like, man, they're set for the next decade at least if they play their cards right, while we're just straggling around hoping for something. So I think there may be some people on the West Coast that have some feelings about LA, but the Spurs are a really easy team to root for. And I think the biggest indicator of that to me is Wemby and his demeanor. He's an ultra competitive guy, which I like to see. He cares and gets emotional about the game. And someone called it the nonchalant era of basketball officially ends with his reign as the best player in the NBA. Because you had Joker for years, who was like the best player, and he didn't even want to be here, right? He's more interested in riding horses in the offseason than being the star of the league. And going to Shea now, and he has this sort of, I don't know, it's like a I don't care demeanor about him. I don't know that that's really the case, but when you see him, he kind of has this demeanor of like, I'm in control, like it's calm, I don't really care that much, it's not a big deal. Wemby, not afraid to show he's competitive, show he's pissed off about not winning MVP, and show that it mattered that he won the Western Conference Finals against the reigning MVP and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. And I think that kind of fire and passion about the game is good to watch and it's good to root for. So I absolutely. And then for the fact that nobody likes New York fans. It's not even about the Knicks. It's just that New York fans, probably up there with Philadelphia, are probably the most annoying fan base.
Boston.
I can throw the Cowboys in there too. Boston, yeah, there's a lot. There's a lot of them for the Northeast too, but there's a lot of people who just want more to celebrate the Knicks failing, getting all the way here and failing, than it is about the Spurs and their market actually winning. So, yeah, I do think most of the nation's on that team.
William Hill has the Spurs as the favorite to win the series, minus 195. I think it should be a lot closer than that. I said it last week when the look-ahead odds were like minus 235 with the Spurs. I think it's a good, really competitive series, and I might be picking the Knicks.
I think that wouldn't be a surprising pick. I get it. I think this series, the Knicks are going to have to adjust, not just because of the long rest that they had, but because the intensity of basketball that they've been playing for the last two series, nowhere near what the Spurs have been going through, nowhere near the intensity that they're capable of bringing. OKC had been walking. Let's not forget, OKC was absolutely dominating all season and all playoffs as well, even without Jay Will. And that was like they're still a very tough team to beat with the way that they've been playing. And for the Spurs to not only get up double digits in multiple games, but to withstand waves of comeback. And what Shai did was one of the it would have been, if he had won that game, one of the most historic Game 7 performances of a superstar player. I don't think the Knicks have dealt with anything like what the Spurs can do. I do think the Spurs should be favored. I agree. It's probably going to be a 7-game series. And if you thought foul baiting was tough for Shai, I would imagine Jalen Brunson is going to make it his mission to get Stephon Castle in foul trouble in every game of this series. So that could make it interesting, but I think Spurs should be favored.
The incredible thing about the Spurs, and I don't know how many people processed this last week because it's pretty complicated, a little convoluted. One of the organizations that benefits the most from Silver's new anti-tanking rules are teams that have lots of picks because it flattened out the odds for most teams. The Spurs are loaded with picks. Now, I'm jumping in front of or after the finals. By the way, I should also mention another team that has a ton of picks with this flattened odds, who's going to benefit, who could see themselves being in the top 5 multiple times, is OKC. So you're talking about two friggin' juggernauts that might have top 5 picks coming up. I got to tell you, if OKC management is aggressive, they might want to sell kind of medium high, if it's even that, on Chet Holmgren and some of their picks, and go get a Giannis. That was all a point to get to Holmgren. What do you think of what we just saw?
The disappearing act by Chet Holmgren, I think it's disappointing as a franchise when you pay a guy star caliber money, and in a star caliber moment, this is now 2 years where he's really vanished when the team needed him. Like Game 6, I think, against the Nuggets last year, they went on to win the series, but he also had a disappearing act in that game when he was needed. And this series, really, for the most part, especially Game 7, he was a no-show. He shot 2 more shots than you and I did, Steve. That's that's ridiculous for a guy making hundreds of millions of dollars to be the number 2 option on the team, especially with Jay Will hurt. I think that was absolutely disgusting to watch. I think Wemby, with that 2-handed dunk, when he just posterized him, took his soul. And from that moment on, Chet was not there anymore. He was like shell-shocked for the rest of the game. As far as what they can do with their picks and the ability to. I've seen franchises do this where they have a solid young core, the capacity to grow with draft picks, and they sell it out to go get a big name star. The chances of that working, I don't think are as great as people would like to imagine. Now, if you add Giannis to the OKC Thunder, I think a lot of people are willing to pay that price. But I see the future with the draft picks and the youth as more enticing as for longevity for a franchise. I heard rumors that Giannis isn't as much of a team guy as he led on to be during his MVP time, and that Milwaukee has, the players on Milwaukee have kind of grown tired of him as well.
Right.
That's kind of been a rumor that's been circulating now that he's not all that good to play with. So we'll see. But if I was OKC, I wouldn't panic just yet. I would give Chet a little life and see if we can re-up for next year. But my God, if he has any more performances like that, you got to cut ties with the guy.
Yeah, you may have, or I buried the lead. You nailed it. He's starting off with a $239 million deal that kicks in this next year. So he might have a contract that is untradeable based on what we just saw. Let's go back to your point about maybe not the greatest guy to play with, and let's hit on the other big deal in the National Football League, and that was A.J. Brown. Do you like this as a roll of the dice? And here's the thing for the Patriots. They didn't buy low. They paid for A.J. Brown in this trade.
Yeah, I think you make that kind of move if you have confidence that what the concerns with A.J. Brown, you've got a plan for that, right? And Vrabel has been a great locker room guy. I mean, obviously that took a hit with his off-season woes, but I think he still is a guy that the locker room believes in and gets behind from a football sense. He has a relationship, obviously, with the Tennessee connection with A.J. Brown. I don't think, and I will say on record here, I think based on last year, it's apparent that the quarterback situation in New England is better than what Philadelphia has. Say what you want about Jalen Hurts and what he's been able to do in his career, he's not as good at quarterbacking from a wide receiver, get me the ball perspective. And you saw that with Stephon Diggs having a pretty good season, even though he's no longer with the team. And then going to the Stephon Diggs point about this, that locker room has shown they can handle a personality, right? It's not like Stephon Diggs is a model citizen in the receiver room, right? Like he has his woes too, and they were able to keep him for the most part as a part of the team, contributing and doing the right things all season. So I think the Patriots and the Patriot way from top to bottom can kind of withstand those kind of personalities. I think it is a massive trade. I don't think it's as simple as, oh, he's there now, and now they're automatic favorites in the AFC to come out again. I think they had plenty of woes that got highlighted during the Super Bowl game specifically, especially on that offensive line, that they need to figure out before anybody, A.J. Brown or the run game or anything gets going in New England. But I do think with the risk reward of having a guy like that, sometimes the locker room aspect of players and meshing with a team gets overblown. I think if a guy can play well enough, if he's good enough on the field, all of that stuff gets forgotten once he starts putting the numbers up, scoring touchdowns and getting you wins. So I think A.J. Brown is a difference maker at receiver, and he will get the Patriots wins when they need him down the stretch.
Could this be addition by subtraction for the Eagles, but especially Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown being gone?
It can be possibly, but it can also be disaster for Jalen Hurts. And you think about his reign as the starter in Philadelphia really has been highlighted with an absolute dynamite skill set, a skill position group. Two receivers that could both arguably be number one with Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown. One of the best, if not the best running back in all of football with Saquon Barkley. And a tight end that's in the top 5 tight ends, right? Like that was his skill set that he was throwing the ball to. How much his numbers were inflated by the skill around him is debatable. But you take a weapon like A.J. Brown out of any offense from a passing attack that was already struggling, like last year, to have that lineup that I just talked about and be struggling in the past, one of the worst passing offenses in the league, I think that was worrisome. So this doesn't necessarily fix it. Now, they've got some young talent in the pipeline actually coming up to see if they can make an impact immediately. But I think it might be a little bit tougher for the Eagles offense to get that passing game to balance out the run game that's been so dominant for them.
You're an old man, Caleb Herring, relative to this conversation.
Oh, geez.
Well, you tell me, you can correct me. I feel like when you played, the locker room may not splinter over political differences. I mean, we are in a highly charged time the last 10 years or so. So just from the outsider's view, I don't think the Giants will be affected very much by Jackson Dart and his Trump stuff and the fact that Trump really loves him, calling him very handsome. He wish he looked like Jackson Dart. That's not going to break up the Giants, is it? I mean, the team is so big. They're on opposite sides of the ball. Or could this actually turn into a freaking virus?
This day and age, it's hard to say. I think, one, it's weird that Trump is allowed to say and get away with things like that societally. Like, it's like, who says that? Like, right? I'm the president of the freaking greatest country in the world, and here I am saying I want to look like Jackson Dart. That's just weird, first of all.
Why?
Secondly,
he's in touch with his masculinity. We can all admit, there's guys out there. Okay, keep going.
Yeah, and then you go on top of that. I think today it's kind of a weird juxtaposition because there was a time where athletes had probably the only platform to reach the youth and really connect with an audience, a demographic in a specific way. And unfortunately, especially with the young African-American community, sports was the vehicle to get messaging across. And sometimes it's political message, sometimes it's social, religious, whatever the case may be. It makes those topics cool when your favorite athlete's talking about it, right? And that's been used now politically by both sides of the aisle to kind of engage with that fan base, with that group of people. So it's a different time for sure than when I came around, because in locker rooms, we didn't talk politics. That was the farthest from us, our topic of conversation. There were other more inappropriate things that were being talked about in the locker rooms I was about, but it was all kind of camaraderie. Everybody kind of agreed. We knew what boundaries not to cross. And I played teams with racist people, right? We're racist. But we were able to, for whatever reason, put that to the side and do our jobs as far as the team went. I don't know that that's the case as much now. I think political opinions in the locker room do have the potential to be divisive, as they have been in society, our country, right? It can be divisive. I'll say the Giants in the aftermath have said all the right things at the podium. It's strange that Jameis Winston is the adult in the room for this. He said some pretty good things about it in the aftermath of what it's done to the locker room. I think they're on the right track. We'll see, though, once the season starts, if things start going bad and they're losing, how quickly this comes up as a narrative in the locker room.
Yeah, I have a feeling Jackson Dart is going to kind of write his own future, as quarterbacks will do. I don't even know that the Giants minded that much, because Dart has some equity, but he's far from being a finished product or the guaranteed guy moving forward. So he may just take himself down on his own with his reckless play, and he's a little crazy out there. So he's got to worry more about being productive, but also staying healthy. We are up against it, Caleb. I appreciate it. We'll talk to you next week.
Yep, absolutely. Guys, take care.
There he is, Caleb Herring, on this Monday as big trade day with Myles Garrett, going from the Browns to the Rams. I want to get into the Browns on the way back because Caleb hit on it early in the interview. There is a time to move a guy when he still has max value, and I really think, and keep that word max in mind, that was a pun intended, not really a pun, but I really do believe that organizations, even if it is the hero of the organization, you got to make a decision at some point. If it ain't going to work out and you can still get equity, go get it.
Good morning.
Vegas is built on service.
Studio lights on, please.
3 shifts a day.
All right, let's do this.
As your morning begins.
It's showtime. We have a lot to talk about live on the program for the next 3 hours.
p.m. at the William Hill Sportsbook inside the Palms Casino Resort. Paulie will break down all the betting action, including odds, matchups, and who bettors are backing the most. After the William Hill radio show, make the William Hill Sportsbook your home for betting with live, continuous in-game wagering. Don't miss the William Hill radio show with Paul Howard this Thursday.
If you're considering purchasing a new or used Honda or need to service your current vehicle, go to the Name Las Vegas Trust for exceptional sales, service, and parts. Finley. Whether you're up north, down south, or